Don Mazzella here again for Small Business Digest. You know, we're going to have a very unusual show today. We have with us somebody who's in the stages of launching his newest venture, and we asked Joe to come on board and share some of his background, some of his experiences, and where he is. Joe DeRosa, welcome to the show.
Hi, Don. Thank you so much for having me on. It's a great pleasure. I look forward.
Well, Well, it's a pleasure for us. Joe, as we ask all our guests, my first question is always, what's your personal background?
I am. I grew up in New York City. I grew up in Manhattan. I grew up in the theater district on 44th and 8th Avenue. We had retail stores over there that helped sell all the Broadway merchandise. I worked in those from basically the early 80s all the way through the mid 90s. I threw parties in school. And then I started doing the New York Artist Series, which was a couple different publishing ventures, media events, different things like that. Over the years, we've had a couple of different restaurants, and it led me to this Tartar, a raw food pescatarian quick serve restaurant. We basically do what Chipotle does, but we do it with fish and we don't cook.
Mhm. Well, we're going to get into that. Uh, um, I'll get the next question. I'm looking out there. You seem to be in paradise. You're certainly not New York City. Where are you?
I'm in Santa Monica in Los Angeles.
What made you decide to go out there?
Um, I moved out here during the pandemic. LA has always had a lot of interest because I've always been had a certain amount of interest in the entertainment industry. The weather just is gorgeous out here. You wake up to sunny mornings. I live about 4 blocks from the beach. And it's a big startup environment with Silicon Beach over here. So
Hmm. Okay. So now you've done a lot of ventures. And you say now you've come up with this idea of a restaurant. Tell us a little bit about it.
okay, tartar, as you know, means raw food. Most of us are used to seeing raw tuna, maybe a little raw beef. Essentially, what we're doing here is I was, eating healthy and working out during the pandemic, and I had noticed I had was playing with a dish, a tartar dish that I'd gotten from another restaurant or I'd eaten over there, and I was eating it and I was switching between salmon and tuna. And I realized that, I was making this for lunch every day and I made it because there was no cooking. So it seemed like it's incredibly healthy. It's very easy to make. You have no restaurant equipment as far as cooking equipment that's needed because there's no frying, no grilling, no baking, no heat at all in our restaurants. So you have all those startup costs are gone. All your operational costs for cooking, employee costs, fryer costs, cleaning costs, everything that happens that you don't want in a restaurant that could possibly end up in causing bugs or dirtiness or uncleanliness or making unsafe environments. Tartar pretty much eliminates all that because we use everything in its raw state. So, I put together a model, I put together a menu over time, and we have a website now with basically a menu preview where people can go, and then we introduce hemp hearts as a complete vegan protein. It's one of the naturally occurring complete vegan proteins in nature, and we use those raw and for to appeal to people who might not want to eat meat, who might be vegetarian, who might be vegan. We have options to basically please the entire demographic.
Well, I'm going to stop you. You say I have a website for you. What is it? People can go.
Tartar.biz.
Can you spell it out?
TARTARE.biz.
Hmm.
Here,
Okay.
something here. I can
Hmm.
here we'll go here.
Oh,
So you can see some of the menu items we have over here and get a little idea. If I get out of the way, we do things like avocado boats, raw tuna, raw salmon, as form of tacos, bowls, salads, things like that.
Wow, raw tuna. Okay, it looks very appetizing. I'll tell you the truth, when you described it, I was saying to myself, well, now that I look at it behind it, it's pretty interesting stuff. So
Well, oh, thank you. The great thing about it is that everybody eats our food, is the way I think about it. When you're young, you eat it to be healthy and work out and to stay in good shape. Where by the time you hit 40 or 50 years old, your doctor's going to require you eat it because it's so healthy. And the great thing about our food is it has no carcinogens either. So besides being completely healthy, having all complete proteins and everything else, since we do no cooking, there's no cancer causing carcinogens. You can never burn your food. You never burn your steak. You never burn your tomato and eat that burnt carbon. So your body never ingests anything that it's not supposed to. One of the things I like to kid about is, we've been serving raw food for 14 billion years. Raw is the first way we ever ate. So,
but I'm going to ask you a question. A lot of restaurants took the steak tartare off their menu because they couldn't get insurance. How do you deal with the insurance of possible germs or whatever from raw food?
The only type of meat we use is fish. So we're really no different than any sushi restaurant. Essentially, I wouldn't say we're no different than sushi because we offer things like taco, but a lot of our basic ingredients are the same thing you would find in any raw sushi place. Really, it's really in the care of the meats and making sure that they're freshly frozen as soon as they come off the boat, and they stay that way, and you're kept that way to a certain temperature to kill all the bacteria before it's served. Most fresh fish is actually frozen as soon as it's put on the boat. It's just a matter of how many times it's refrozen. So even sushi grade tuna has been frozen to kill the bugs.
Well, let me ask you this this question. How did you come up with such fascinating looking food? I'm looking at all of this, and I congratulated you on the menu. But how did you come up with this menu? Did you go to cook or whatever?
Well, I mean, I sat in the kitchen and I played with the ingredients a lot, and one of the things I have from working in different restaurants is I understand that at the end of the night, people dread the cleanup. When you're in a pizza place or you're in a fast food place, you're working with grills. It's very hard to clean those to an acceptable amount so you don't end up with the possibility of bugs or rats or whatever at the end of the vermin at the end of the night. It's very hard when you're dealing with stuff like that to get all the fryer grease that splashes all over the place or clean the grills. And these are very hard, dirty jobs that people in the food industry have to do every day. By stopping cooking, we eliminate half the unpleasantness of actually working at a fast food restaurant. You no longer have to stand and slave over a hot grill. You don't have to clean it at the end of the night. There's no more fryer grease that you have to empty, you know what I mean? Or redo or get splashed by. There's no ovens that can burn you. There's no heat at all. So by, using completely raw ingredients, we create a work environment that's extremely friendly and extremely happy for a fast food worker. So, I got in the kitchen and, I tried to simplify everything that we were doing down to, so we didn't have too many ingredients. So we were functionally fast. There's nothing, either stuff that we make is either prepped overnight, so it's available for people to take as a grab and go, or it's done in a Chipotle style where they walk down the thing and they're like, okay, we want tuna and we want tacos, or we want tacos, we want tuna, and then we want these toppings, or we want a bowl and we want salmon and we want these toppings. It's very much done in a way that's similar to Chipotle. except instead of using pork or beef or anything like that, we're using 2 different types of fish and then preparing them in several different options.
What have you done to secure your supplies of these various items?
Um, I'm in LA, so we have a very rich, one great thing about the restaurant is anything that we serve, if we run out of, we could potentially go to a Whole Foods or a Ralph's or any grocery store. Most of our ingredients are either raw tuna, raw salmon, and then there are a lot of fresh fruits. We use avocados heavily, we use mangoes, carrots, cucumbers. Almost anything could be found year round in the produce section. Everything that we have, I mean, that won't be as a business where we order from, but our ingredients are all always available to found inside, the fresh produce section. As far as where would we get them, fish distributors, depending on the location, will use a different company because they all have different territories here. We're right over by the water here. There's lots of ports. The fish itself won't be anything. And honestly, in today's market where we get everything in 24 hours from Amazon, getting fish anywhere in the country or really anywhere in the world really wouldn't be that much of a problem. One great thing about tartare is phonetically, the word tartare means raw food in over 200 different languages. So it's really a global brand.
That's very interesting. But now let's get to the tough part of the job. Where do you get your financing, or how do you propose to finance this operation?
Well, originally I was going to go through startups and go that way. I may actually end up, I have a meeting, we're heading down to some self-financing options. I'm going to go to a meeting after this to talk about financing, actually, at about 10 o'clock. I've got a conference we're going to. I've had a couple interests because of the unique and eclectic idea of being able to open a fast serve restaurant without cooking. It's got a lot of interest from people like Chipotle and McDonald's because they feel that they could roll it out fast and it would be very successful because it's got low startup costs and a high profit margin because you don't actually cook the food. Plus it's extremely fast. I mean, when you have raw food and you cut them free, all you have to do is dump them in and make the food as you go. So, that's still an option. I've gotten, some flirtations with 8 or 9 figure evaluations, 9, 10 figure evaluations, but that hasn't panned out. Obviously, everybody's really cautious with their money because of the high interest rates right now. So, financing will probably come from either partially from myself and maybe from some investors if we don't join with a larger company to help roll it out.
Well,
I mean, I've looked at a lot of different flagship locations, anything from right on the promenade to a corner location with high street traffic. One of our things is we think because we deal with so many people, our menu's so friendly to people who are vegan, vegetarian, who may be pescatarian, who may be raw food eaters. All our food is pretty much gluten-free. I mean, it's very good for diabetes and anything else, virtually any sort of food allergy. We don't really use nuts. So we think we'll do a lot of catering for, kids' birthday parties, office parties, corporate lunches and stuff like that. So we're really counting on catering being a big part of what we do. One of the things we did is we made our dessert menu very healthy and very friendly for kids. We do something called banana sushi, which is basically chopsticks, and you use a banana and it's coated with, caramel or peanut butter or nuts or whatever, and you chop it into pieces and you eat it like sushi for the kids. So it's very family friendly and very healthy. So instead of feeding them ice cream or chocolate, they can eat a banana covered with peanut butter and, some nuts.
Well, we go further. Give us your website again, because I tell you, until I saw the actual foods behind you, I was not sure that you had something. But now that I see it, I think got a very, very interesting concept. But what is it, your website again?
Oh, it's www.tartare.biz, TARTARE.biz.
Okay, because like I said, I've been looking at it, fascinated. I'm not what you call a vegan person. I'm a steak and potatoes man. But some of the stuff that on your background looks interesting enough to continue.
I'm telling you, and it's extremely healthy for people of all age. One of the things we do, like I said, is we're introducing hemp seed as a complete vegan protein alternative. So if people don't want to eat fish, we make like hemp seed croutons that mix into your salad. And they're very good at lowering cholesterol. They're very good for heart health. They're very rich. All our foods are very rich in omega-3s and omega-6s. So they're very good for elderly and brain health. And memory. That's one of the other things. If you look at the hemp heart health facts or the hemp health facts at the top of the website, there's a whole section. One of the other things we do is, a pound of beef costs about 2,000 to 3,000 gallons of water to produce. And that's one of the reasons we got into this. Is this menu is extremely environmentally friendly to the areas that it's in. All our things are naturally grown. Fish requires almost no water to breed because all the water is recycled. Either you're on a fish farm in the middle of the ocean, or you're one on a very large river, and that water is recycled back in and recycled back out. So while a regular 1 pound burger from McDonald's might cost about 2,500 gallons of water to bring to market, a similar meal from Tartare would be much healthier for you and would only cost about 200 gallons of water to bring to market. So there's a huge water saving. And, by using the way we do, we also produce very little CO2 into the environment. In fact, by using hemp hearts, we're actually pulling, and a lot of fresh produce, those things pull CO2 out of the environment. So we're very friendly on the green perspective. We're very healthy. We're very, water conservative. We figure we can save over 300 million gallons of water per location per year. If we switch from a beef or a chicken over to a fish in the fast serve setting. So it's great for people who want to be like responsible investors in new startups.
Well, I guess my next question is, what's your price point?
Go ahead. Is there mostly our price point meals will probably be in that $12 to $18 range, especially with the California $20 minimum wage. Outside California, I think you can probably, my always deal is I wanted to be able to have something people could walk in like McDonald's and get something healthy to eat for under $5. So we do have some very healthy things that are available for under $5 or right around that $5 price point that would, work as a fast lunch or work as a healthy protein alternative. Instead of grabbing a quick double cheeseburger for $2 or $3 at McDonald's, you'll be able to walk over and get something equivalent. It wouldn't be a full meal, but it would be something you could walk in. It might last you for 2, 3, 4 hours. So that's one important thing that I want to do with this. But I would expect your normal lunch to be in the normal fast food price. That tend to, depending on where we are in the United States. Obviously, like I said, New York and LA. One of the things I'm, as a new, eyeballing a new restaurant chain is working with the different costs in different markets. Some places still have a $7 minimum wage. And like I said, in California, they just installed a $20 one. So a lot of fast food places are closing here. We are better prepared to last in the market than anyone else because we don't have the startup costs. We don't have the employee costs for cooking. And we don't have the maintenance costs for cleaning and upgrading all our kitchen equipment and, fire safety and all that stuff because we don't use any heat.
Hmm.
So it's an incredible franchise opportunity, actually, if we decide to go that way.
Well, how many um, personnel do you need in an operation?
That would depend on it. I think you could probably run with 2 to 3 people. You could run a smaller one with 2 to 3 people on staff. Um, you're going to have some prep. Like I said, a lot of the stuff we do, we're going to do a lot of prep overnight. We expect our restaurant to have staff there 24 hours a day. The catering and the overnight prep will be done by one set of staff, so it's all ready to go in the morning. And then the new staff will come in and they will handle the ongoing prep uh, and handling the customers and
Hmm.
serving food.
Do you
But
have a
one of
breakfast
the things,
menu?
one of the things we do is we make a strawberry mango guacamole, which is exactly what it says. It's strawberries and mangoes mixed in with guacamole, and it's very delicious, very healthy. But things like that would be prepped and put into, one portion containers, or, containers for people to grab and go, and done overnight. Making huge batches of guacamole really isn't, in the middle of the day, isn't it's not an optimal way to go about it. You know what I mean? You don't want to, it's just too much work to peel the avocados and cut all the fruit and mix it all together. And, if we can avoid that, we want the overnight staff doing it. Any of our no bake brownie products, all of our desserts that'll be pre-set up and packaged in the single portion so people can grab and go. A lot of those things will all be done overnight and packaged like sandwiches, or, like I said, single portions that you can grab and go. And then just mostly the raw fish will be dealt with in an individual serving, like making the tacos, making the bowls, or making the salads.
Okay. Your website again for our audience?
It's www.tartare.biz.
Our audience, our radio audience, I want to say you should go on and see these products. I'm just fascinated by it. But we have just a couple of minutes left. But again, I question that: do you have a breakfast product, or
Um,
are you lunch or dinner, or what are you?
Well, we do have some, so we don't have a traditional breakfast product. We have things like hemp heart bowls. I'm sorry, hemp heart balls, which are basically like they're they're basically like protein balls. They're very healthy. They're sort of like chocolate donut holes, is what they look like. But they're very protein rich and very healthy. We do sorry, I have to go look at my menu for 1 second here. Uh, you know, we do a lot of smoothies is another thing that we're working with here. Um, which would be great for breakfast. We do hemp heart infused smoothies and milkshakes, which provide extra protein. So it's basically, you take mangoes, pineapple, some hemp hearts, throw in a little bit of ice, and, just mix them up, and you have a protein-rich fruit smoothie that's all natural that, people be able to drink for money. I mean, drink for breakfast. It'll be something like around a 9 a.m. open time. So we wouldn't be open for your traditional early morning breakfast.
Well, Joe DeRosa, we just have about a minute left. What would you like to leave our audience with?
I'd like to tell you, remember to eat healthy, check out tartar.biz. There's incredible food. There's a lot of opportunity. If you're a small business owner, drop us an email. We might be franchising. It's not in my early plans, but it's certainly a possibility. I'd like to get this rolled out as quickly as possible. We think we're saving a lot of water. We're helping people eat healthier that will help them live longer. And be in better shape while they live. So we think it's really important that you eat healthy and, try and be, conscientious with how you deal with the planet. And that's one of the things we pride ourselves with.
Well, on that note, we say thanks, Joe, for what I find a very illuminating half hour. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Don. It was a great pleasure to be here. I hope all your listeners had viewers had get something out of this.